You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra, Macia, and Tom Teeper-Teller.
I'm down from Colorado to visit my niece who loves eclipses and other things. And so, yeah, I came down because this is one of the spots where you could get almost 100%, I believe.
People came from near and far to see the solar eclipse this weekend from Midland and Odessa. Coming up on CBS7 News at 9, we take a look at the economic impact the eclipse had on our area. Good evening and thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Alexandra, Macia, and we start tonight tracking crime. According to our news partners at the Odessa American, Booby Miles Jr. has been found guilty of failure to comply with sex offender registration requirements. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison by an Ector County jury. Miles is also awaiting trial on 2 family violence charges after his former wife was found passed out in her car with strangulation marks around her neck and an injured face. And in your oil and gas news, it's an exciting week for people in the oil and gas industry. The Permian Basin International Oil Show has returned to Odessa. The show has multiple companies show off their latest equipment that can be beneficial towards energy companies. For the next 3 days, people across the country and the world will get the chance to interact with 750 exhibitors, all with the same goal: making sure the oil and gas industry is safer and the workforce much stronger. This event showcases the latest new innovations inside the industry. The latest equipment helps maximize workflow while also focusing on emissions capture, reuse of water, and using AI technology.
See just huge numbers of international attendees from literally every producing part of the globe, where they send their executives here. They understand what the latest new technologies are, and they can actually purchase it and have it on a boat headed back their direction the next month.
Richard says they expect over 25,000 people this year. The show begins tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and we will be live at the oil show tomorrow afternoon, so make sure to tune in. And oil prices rose today amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. International benchmark Brent crude futures rose as high as $91.20 a barrel on Monday. That is up slightly from Friday's settlement price of $90.89. Here in the Permian Basin, the U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate briefly rose to $87.98. That is compared to Friday's closing price of $87.68. Some analysts expect oil prices to hit $100 a barrel due to the growing risk of regional escalation. In Midland, Odessa officials say this weekend's eclipse brought thousands to the Permian Basin. The area was a prime point to view the rare phenomenon. Officials say city staff met people who had traveled as far as Florida or even Canada to see it. It's too early for exact numbers of travelers and revenue. However, individual venue estimates and observations of large crowds point to a big success for Midland, Odessa. Saturday morning was marked by flocks of people clad with eclipse glasses. It was a time for friends, family, and new experiences. A byproduct of those travelers, locals getting out and about, is a boost to the local economy. Everything from eating at restaurants and getting gas to staying at a hotel generates sales tax revenue.
The economic impact that Odessa is going to experience, that's always exciting for any community to have a neat event happen that rarely ever does, and then to know that the benefit of that will be more money into the community.
Midland had a similar experience. That money can go to things like roads and better infrastructure. It will also be an opportunity to show off Midland and Odessa with the intent of encouraging people to revisit. And it's time to take a look at weather. Chief Meteorologist Tom Teeper-Teller is here to tell us what we can expect. Tom?
Oh, we're wrapping up a beautiful day across West Texas and southeast New Mexico with some great temperatures. Here's where we topped out today, seeing those readings only into the mid to upper 70s out there. So it was, again, just a wonderful day across most areas. Currently, we are looking at a pretty quiet evening, and things have cooled off a little bit into the mid 60s across most areas, still hanging on to some 70s down into the Rio Grande there. Presidio, Terlingua 75, 73 in Presidio. But again, great stuff. Now, temperatures are going to start to warm up a little bit. We're going to see a little bit of a roller coaster coming up here as we'll warm up into the mid-80s by Wednesday, drop a little bit with a weak front, but then nearing 90 by the weekend before some bigger changes start to roll into our forecast. What looks like a strong cold front on the way next week, and we'll talk a little more about that here in just a couple of minutes.
I got to sing on stage with the Dropkick Murphys. This was possibly no, not possibly. This is the best day of my life, period.
On Sunday, October 8th, the Dropkick Murphys brought a special fan on stage. That fan was Bass Hoke, a sixth grader from Carver Center in Midland, who got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get on stage and sing with one of his favorite bands. From a young age, Bass Hoke has been on stage performing in front of crowds. Last weekend, the Hoke family took a trip to San Antonio to see the Boston native rock band Dropkick Murphys.
Well, I've always liked Irish culture, and I had actually seen them before at the Boston to Berkeley show. So, yeah, and I mean, it's really just their style of music, because I've been to a lot of bands, and I really got into that style of music.
He hopes his time on stage with the Dropkick Murphys isn't his last, and he plans to continue to sing as long as he can. And in your education news, the Bynum School in Midland serves students of all ages with special needs. Now the school has 25 years of accreditation from Cognia, an accreditation recognized around the world. Students at Bynum School range from 3 to 51 years old, and each of them gets their own individual program plan that is customized to their skill level. The major criteria that Cognia looks at is the school's culture of learning, the school's leadership, programs that are provided to students, and the students' growth. Accreditation helps Bynum School show parents that their children are in good hands.
We've had students that start at every level. A lot of students start at the middle school level after they've been through an elementary program. Some start from the very beginning with us and go all the way through. It's just, it's a unique environment. We're very focused on the greatest potential of each student.
Each student at Bynum has mastered almost 12% more goals over the last year. Bynum School currently has 120 students, which is the most it has ever had. The accreditation is going to be renewed with Cognia's new standards for the next school year, and the executive director is confident they will be accredited once again. And today is the 36th year anniversary of the rescue of baby Jessica from a well in Midland. You'll remember 18-month-old Jessica McClure fell into a well on October 14, 1987. It took rescuers 58 hours to free Jessica from an 8-inch pipe. The story got national attention and was even made into a movie. Jessica is still alive and is now 37 years old. And in the community, tonight was the 8th annual Dining in the Dark fundraiser. Attendees were blindfolded to take away one of their senses to heighten their other senses. The experience brings awareness to the low vision and blind community, and the resources the Recording of Library of West Texas supplies them.
So we record their audio, so that could be magazines, religious material, the local news, sports, Texas Monthly Magazine. We also are reading textbooks for local universities and colleges in the area to get those kids graduated and successful in life.
The goal was to bring in new volunteers and offer people a new experience. In your international news, with the threat of an Israeli ground invasion, the destruction in Gaza continues to intensify. Nearly 200 hostages are being held in Gaza, which is more than previously reported. Palestinians with dual citizenship crowded the border, crossing from Gaza into Egypt Monday, trying to get out. An evacuation ship carrying American citizens left an Israeli port today, and U.S. facilitated charter flights will continue through tomorrow. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is also trying to secure the release of hostages, but Hamas says it won't negotiate while Israel continues bombing.
This will be a long war. The price will be high.
You have and will always have the support of the United States.
CBS News confirms President Biden is considering a possible visit to Israel. And the FBI has opened a federal investigation into the stabbing death of a 6-year-old Muslim boy in Chicago. The boy's mother was also stabbed in the attack. The suspect is an Illinois man and the landlord of the home where the victims lived. The suspect was charged with a hate crime today, and the child's family laid him to rest Monday outside Chicago, with community leaders saying he paid the ultimate price for an atmosphere of hate. Marie Savadre reports from Chicago.
Allahu Akbar. Dozens of mourners gathered outside Chicago for a solemn service honoring 6-year-old Wadi Al-Fayoumi. Authorities say the Muslim child and his mother were allegedly attacked by their landlord Saturday, 71-year-old Joseph Zuba, because of their faith and the conflict in the Middle East. The boy was stabbed 26 times inside his home with a military-style knife. His mother stabbed more than a dozen times and is expected to survive. Outside Monday's service, Al-Fayoumi's father and uncle addressed the media.
A 71-year-old man sitting on top of a 6-year-old kid, stabbing him more than 26 times, and he was looking in his eyes. You tell me, is that exaggeration?
The Palestinian family lived on the ground level of the landlord's home in Plainfield Township for 2 years.
This is a heavy day. It is our worst nightmare come true.
Muslim leaders say the child paid the ultimate price for an atmosphere of hate in the U.S.
It pains me that the sacrificial lamb to this atmosphere was this beautiful, young, 6-year-old boy who had his whole life ahead of him.
Earlier, Zuba made his first court appearance on charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and 2 counts of a hate crime. The FBI has opened a federal investigation into the incident. Marie Savadra, CBS News, Chicago.
Still ahead, busloads of migrants are arriving in Chicago from Texas. We'll have the latest on what city leaders are saying in just a few minutes. In Chicago, city leaders say more help is needed from its own to shelter the busloads of migrants arriving from Texas. Sarah Schultz has the latest.
Wall-to-wall tents. Every square inch of the sidewalk in front of the 18th Police District is used for sheltering migrants. There is so little room left. Adriana Colina and her family were forced to find space under a tree across the street. Colina just arrived with her 3 boys under the age of 7. She tells us I didn't think there was so much population here at the police station. I thought it would be very different. I thought everything was going to be very fast with the shelter. According to city data, the 18th police district, located at the corner of Division and Larrabee, has close to 300 migrants living here. Overall, there are over 3,000 new arrivals living at police stations throughout the city. In a virtual briefing to reporters today, the city says the Texas governor has dramatically increased his fleet of buses he's sending to Chicago.
He plans on sending 20 to 25 buses a day. Just in this past week, we had 63 buses.
Mayoral Deputy Chief of Staff Christina Pacione-Zaya says the administration's plan to move people out of police stations to yet-to-be-built base camps is imminent, although she would not say where they will be located. Meantime, the city is opening a new shelter every 6 days. But Pacione-Zaya says it's not nearly enough, and the city needs more help from its own.
We've also received quite a bit of pushback. And so we really need the help, from community as well as alders to assist us in being able to get people off of the police station floors.
Last month, the Johnson administration asked all 50 city council members to identify available land or buildings in their wards as potential shelter sites. Pacione-Zaya says only 25% of the alders have offered anything.
Plans for Chicago's Mayor Brennan Johnson's trip to the border is still underway.
Well, we are going to be looking at some warmer temperatures in our forecast, but the mornings are going to feel very fallish. We'll talk about all that, peek at the weekend too, coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, we are looking at some nice temperatures out there across the area. More are in the forecast. Currently right now, lower to mid 60s across the Permian Basin. Already down to 58 though, down in Fort Davis, 59 in Hobbs. So on our way to another chilly night for some spots in West Texas. Now we have this good north to south flow in the upper levels right off the midsection of the country. So that's bringing in dry air all across the state. Not seeing too much of anything within, the south central U.S. really. in the way of rain. Now, we do have this ridge of high pressure back to the west. That's really going to control our weather here over the next few days and start to gradually warm those temperatures up. But we'll see the nights remain a little on the cool side because of the very dry air that is in place. And then our attention is going to turn to the west coast. Another big storm system there moving in over the weekend. It's going to bring a cold front into West Texas next week, and that's going to be a bigger change. Right now across the state of Texas, again, not too much happening. Pretty darn quiet out there, as we may have a couple of high clouds sneaking in across portions of the eastern Texas panhandle. Really about it, as temperatures currently across the state, again, nice and cool. Look at that, 57 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 55 in Amarillo. So you can see everybody's getting in on the nice weather across the Lone Star State. Take a look at the forecast for the rest of tonight. We're going to see those temperatures again. That's the big story, dropping down into the upper 40s overnight tonight, so not quite as chilly as it was this morning, but nice and fall weather is on the way. And then tomorrow back up into the low 80s out there. And as I take a look at your CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, that's really the forecast trend all the way through the rest of the week and into the weekend. We'll see a weak front move in late Wednesday into Thursday. Drop temperatures a couple of degrees, but the real warm up is this weekend with temperatures approaching 90, lots of sunshine, looking great for anything you have planned outdoors. Then next week it's back to fall weather as that strong cold front arrives. It looks like late Monday into Tuesday. Some Pacific moisture may come into play with a tropical system, and that could put better rain chances in our forecast. Right now, we're kind of holding off till we see what happens with that, but that could be the bigger change in our forecast, as we'll definitely see some cooler temperatures on the way.
Still ahead, a country music legend will be performing at the Commanders Cowboys game. We'll have that and more up next. Football fans are getting an extra treat on Thanksgiving Day. Country music legend Dolly Parton will perform at the Commanders Cowboys game at AT&T Stadium in Texas. It's all part of the Salvation Army's Red Kettle Kickoff halftime show. CBS Evening News anchor and managing editor Nora O'Donnell asked Parton about her plans.
We're going to do some stuff that everybody can sing along with me on. They'll know the songs I'm doing. And I have about 6.5 minutes of show to do. So I'll be singing songs. I'm doing definitely one thing from my rock album. So we'll end the show with that.
You can see the Thanksgiving Day game right here on CBS, and more of Nora's interview with Parton tomorrow night on the CBS Evening News. And photo editing software maker Adobe is working on some cool new generative AI-powered tools and features. At its annual Adobe Max Sneaks event last week, the company previewed a series of prototype tools that make use of both generative AI and 3D image technology. They include a dress that transforms into a wearable screen and streamlined ways to delete elements from photos. The new capabilities are meant to offer a sneak peek into the early stage ideas that might one day become widely used components of Adobe products. Adobe first began adding AI tool Firefly into a Photoshop beta app in May, with the goal of dramatically accelerating how users edit their photos. And still ahead, October 17th is National Pasta Day. We'll have more up next. Carb lovers rejoice. October is National Pasta Month all month long, and Tuesday marks National Pasta Day. Did you know besides spaghetti, macaroni, and penne, there are more than 300 kinds of pasta? When cooked pasta can be served hot or cold, and it can be a main dish, a side dish, or even a dessert. Celebrate pasta today by making a lasagna for dinner, ordering a pasta deal on Grubhub for delivery, or going to an Italian restaurant with family or friends. It's a little too late for pasta tonight, Tom, but I think tomorrow I will be celebrating National Pasta Day. I love pasta. Do you like pasta?
Yes, I do, but I like the bad pastas. Like the, Alfredo.
Oh, the ones that aren't good for you.
Yeah, Alfredo carbonara.
How can you not love the bad pastas? And they do have some good healthy options like chickpea pasta nowadays, which I love. So go celebrate.
And they even make I had some pasta that was made out of squash.
Wow. Yes, squash. Exactly.
Yeah. And so there's things like that if you really want to go the healthy way of doing things.
There you go. And lots of options to try all month long, that's for sure.
Yes, and we got the weather for it with cool temperatures in the morning, not too bad in the afternoon.
All right, well, thanks for watching CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW. We have more news coming up tonight on CBS 7 News at 10.